Welcome to the Seller Roundtable e-commerce coaching and business strategies with Andy Arnott and Amy Wees.
So Anthony, back to Amazon, or I guess e-commerce. What do you think is one thing that Amazon sellers can do today that they may have put off or might not have done, that could affect their bottom line immediately? Like anything that comes to mind that you think that something that somebody could take action on today to affect their bottom line in a relatively short amount of time?
I mean, that's tough because I'm not really good at the what can you do immediately. More of my stuff is like, how can you set yourself up for success long term? I would definitely say that one thing that I think everybody should be doing right now, and then this probably would have a relatively immediate effect if it's done properly, which is a big if because I understand there's a learning curve. If people aren't actually using paid media outside of Amazon, it's cheaper now. So now's a good time to start learning and try it out. And when I say paid media outside of Amazon, I'm not just talking about Facebook ads either. I mean, Snapchat, why not? I'm learning the platform, right? I literally bought a course. I don't know if it's any good yet. I haven't opened it, but I bought a course 2 days ago to learn Snapchat ads. I want to play around with all of them, right?
There's Reddit, there's Pinterest, there's
LinkedIn,
so many
Twitter,
ad platforms.
Pinterest, yes.
Yeah, Quora, even a lot of people don't know Quora. Quora has a ad platform, and the targeting is pretty cool.
Holy crap, I didn't know that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, Quora, dude, get on Quora because you can target specific questions. So it's pretty epic. I mean, you guys just start looking around on some of your favorite platforms and see if they have an ad platform, because there's so many ad platforms out there that are underutilized. And especially now, like Anthony was saying, I think I read an article yesterday that said like the average, price per click or something like that, or I don't know the metric they're using, but it was 20% cheaper than it was last month, right? And that's going to continue to happen. And
because all the big companies stopped running their ads because they're concerned about what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, well, and one of the ways I grew my app business, which was, like I always tell people, was one of my most successful endeavors, and I loved it because it was like literally a money machine, right? You'd set up your app, you'd launch it. This was on Google, and it would make money while you're sleeping, while you're similar to Amazon, but like a lot less work. Like once you got it set up, we'd have to do weekly updates and things like that. But man, that was epic. And one of the ways we grew that business, because it was during the economic downturn, the last one, is we used a lot of paid ads, and it was cheap because nobody was advertising. So, I definitely want people to realize that, because a lot of big companies pull out, because of the way they work, they immediately start pulling budgets, right? It's not like targeted. It's not like, oh, we're making money on this platform, but not this platform. They just get a call from the CEO that says, hey, we got to cut, 20% of our ad spend. Boom. And then it goes away, right? And that inventory is now open to, everybody else. So definitely, guys, look at, the opportunities in paid ads right now to either launch your business or grow your current business, and just do small tests. A big mistake that a lot of people make is they try to go super wide. For example, say you were, selling, I don't know, a Bluetooth speaker, instead of, spinning up a Google ad campaign off of Amazon that has like 1,000 keywords, pick like 4 or 5 that are super relevant, mid to long tail keywords. So you're not going to spend a lot because you might only get 5 to 10 clicks a day, but they're ultra relevant and could push that, that product forward, even just, every day. Like if you get an extra sale a day or something like that, the rank's going to continue to climb. And so there's a lot of fun ways to use ads right now to grow your business.
There is. I'm actually, I'm excited about one. This is a ninja. I'm about to drop a ninja
All right.
tip right here. So if you have your own store, you can connect your Instagram account to it. You can actually then go into the catalog after Instagram says that you're open for shoppable posts, and change the catalog URLs to Amazon, for example, if you wanted to run a ranking campaign there, and run shoppable, run traffic to a shoppable post. which is kind of huge on Instagram because normal posts don't have a URL, and then ads are very obviously ads. So you can have like influencers, for example, pushing a normal, honest to goodness, regular, organic post, or you can find a way to push that through other ad platforms or whatever that has links in it that go to your Amazon store. I cannot wait to start messing with that. And I just discovered like probably 3 weeks ago that this was even possible.
Yeah, and the other cool thing, that's a great tip. Another cool thing that a lot of people might not know is Google Shopping just went free again. They went from free to paid, then back to free. Now you can still, have paid ads on Google Shopping, but to list your products on Google Shopping is free now, which, why, I mean, you're absolutely missing out if you don't go and list your, there's a lot of, if you're using Shopify, there's an app that'll just push the feed to Google Shopping. Same thing with WooCommerce. There's a lot of extensions that you can do the same thing. So definitely jump on that too, guys. But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity in terms of, getting more. A lot of people are so scared to start and run businesses during downturn, but if you really kind of step back and think about it, there's also a ton of great opportunity there if you just start getting creative. And I think that's what I love about, I shouldn't saying I love, I don't mean I love downturns, but what I love about, having to go into a downturn is as an entrepreneur, you start getting really, really creative. I mean, that's why I started getting into Etsy, print on demand, all these other things that I haven't really spent time with before, because I was like, well, how can I bring in more income and not, only spend a little bit of time to like set it up and then have it on autopilot. I'm also really starting to look hard at drop shipping. I always thought drop shipping was kind of like, you do that if you don't know how to do private label or whatever. But the more I'm, researching it, the more I'm starting to realize that, if you can dial some of that stuff in, that's money that once again is like very low touch, right? Low maintenance, low touch, and can just be an extra source of income. Same thing with like Kindle Direct, all these awesome things that you guys can dive into. And, a lot of the stuff only takes like, a full day, 8 hours worth of work, which everybody's sitting around at home right now. Why not, just start dipping your toes in there.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, it was, I want to say early 2019 that I did a presentation in Vancouver and was telling people, and it was funny because everybody was like, oh no, drop shipping is dead. I was talking to people about building these funnels and doing like free plus shipping stuff through drop shipping. And they're like, that's such a terrible idea. Everybody in the room was like, no, if you like it is a learning curve. You have to learn, first of all, how to find a good supplier that offers a product that's not going to be, high returns. Also work out some logistics stuff so the shipping times don't turn ludicrous. But if you get past those, I think drop shipping represents one of the greatest opportunities for people to test products for private label. Because if you find a drop shipping product that does well, even if it's not like fully custom, the point is once you prove the concept, there's no better way and no cheaper way, because you're essentially making money to do this test, which is usually not the case. You find a concept that works and you're like, now I already know there's a market for this. I'm just going to go make it better, private label it, and boom. And it's like, yeah. I feel like that that alone makes learning dropshipping worth it.
Yeah. Well, we actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because we kind of did the same, or we did something similar to that recently where, we put up a product, that was a drop shipping product, and it started selling more and more and more and more. And what was fun is because of the delays from China, right? We have like 3 weeks or 2 weeks of, hey, you'll get your product in 2 or 3 weeks. But, as if you pay for an expensive express shipment like DHL, you can get stuff still in like 5 days. But what was fun is because we had that 3-week shipping delay, and all of a sudden we're like, wow, this is selling like crazy. We went and found a new supplier for the product and bulk ordered it direct to ourselves, express 5 days. And all these back orders, all these orders that we had already, instead of submitting it to the drop shipper, we just now ship directly. So like you said, it's such a cool way to test new products with very little upfront money. And it's the same thing as you mentioned, the small buys on AliExpress. Amy and I did a course about that. We're talking about not doing courses, but we showed people that's how I started on Amazon, was just ordering small batches on AliExpress, 10, 50, 100, and just testing stuff and seeing what worked. because the upfront cost is so low, and you can just test like 10. I keep telling people, instead of taking $1,000 or $5,000, whatever it is, that upfront cost to order those massive amount of units that you think is going to be this home run product, that you're gonna, you're just starting on Amazon. Like, instead of doing that, take that $1,000, go order 10 different products, 10 units, and throw it up and see which one, do a live test and see which one actually is going to sell, and then go back and order more.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. That's awesome that you guys have been doing that for a little while. Like I've heard very few people that have been teaching that method, because so many of the gurus are like, no, go all in.
I've been doing it, dude. Like I said, I started 2011. That's how I started that process. And we put the course out. God, what, Amy, is it like a year old now already? It's
it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But then again, it's easy to sell a copycat course, and it's hard to actually create content based on your experience. And so that's what we did. We just were like, hey, let's put this together because this is gold. And we did a podcast episode where we kind of talked through the process, and it was so popular. And people were like, man, that makes sense. I want to learn how to do that. And so we decided, we turned it into a whole course. And people were like, because we only charged $96 for the course, and people were like, whoa, this is like a whole private label course. Because we did like listing optimization. We showed you how to list, how to set up a brand name, a logo, all for test products. And then we taught you how to set up your PPC for launching, everything. So, people were kind of blown away because they expected just to basically get one video, and they got this whole course. So it's fun. We still get people joining in and trying it out.
I mean, I might have to. That sounds great.
I'll give you free access, Anthony.
There we go.
Hey, assume it.
Yeah. We'll add you.
Only if he throws in those Shopify tips in there. So
right. Well, he gave us some ninja stuff, so he's paying by labor right now. So
Walmart is really good right now too. Like Walmart now is like Amazon was 10 years ago. So it's crazy, like the amount of success people have been having with Walmart.
I did pretty good with Walmart for a little while. My last brand, probably after I had it for a year, I was like, got to get into Walmart. And this is before like anybody was talking about getting into Walmart. And I just happened to be lucky enough, because there was a period of time when they weren't taking third-party sellers at all. I just happened to be lucky enough. One of the reps from Walmart was like, we want you in our store. Like, we started talking about getting the products in the store. And then I showed interest in e-com, and they're like, if you want to test that out first, like, we'll get you in there. I got in there and then started running some tests. I even paid a guy from India to like do their magic voodoo on the ranking, just because I wanted to see, like, does it work? Try to reverse engineer what they're doing. Turns out that at that time anyway, and I'm sure it's not much different now, or more sophisticated. All you had to do was have like a whole bunch of reviews, and then like, boom, you're on page one. So I had listings on page one, product was selling like 15, 20 units a day. And I mean, this was like 2 years ago. So yeah, Walmart's awesome.
Yeah, it's unfortunately I was lucky enough, like they had you like a long, when they first launched the platform right after Jet, it was like, yeah, you can sign up and for the waiting list or whatever, we'll invite you. And I got invited, and I was one of those people who like are kicking themselves now because I could have had early mover advantage, and I just never got around to it, which sucks, because I definitely think that's probably a marketplace that's going to expand, and I keep telling people that Amazon is the MySpace of e-commerce, right? Everyone laughs at me, but I truly believe that. If you look at some of these other players, like we've talked about it on a bunch of other episodes, Facebook, the fact that Facebook doesn't have a marketplace right now just boggles my mind. They're leaving so much money on the table. I don't know why. Their marketplace, I think maybe was them kind of testing the waters, but when you think about it, Facebook goes in, they buy FedEx. They got that distribution network already set up, or one of these other companies, UPS, whatever. And then they go in there and they turn on the marketplace like immediately and have third-party sellers. It's mind-boggling how they could give Amazon a run for their money like almost immediately. So that's an interesting concept. Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
No, I was just saying they might still. I mean, I know they haven't done it yet, but if you look at what they're doing in India, they partnered up with, I forgot the name of the company, but they're actually they're competing directly with Amazon's local service in India, by enabling shopping through WhatsApp. So they're showing the signs of testing various, I guess, avenues through e-commerce. So I would not be surprised. They might just be waiting on something. Maybe this cryptocurrency thing. Maybe that's the payment transaction platform they want to use, and so that it might be on the list of to-dos at this point, is what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah, it's very interesting for sure. All right, we got some questions. And seeing as how you're kind of a launch master, Anthony, Leonard asks, pretty close to launching my product. What do you do to ensure your launch is as successful as possible?
Well, obviously you hit the basics, right? So you got to make sure that your listing is absurdly optimized. I would take it a step further, only because now, I mean, I know, Andy, you're the king of this. I'm just now discovering the importance of the relationship between Amazon and Google. So I would take it a step further and make sure that with your optimization, you've identified keywords that I guess would be Google friendly as well. And there's a lot of stuff you can probably do with that further down the line. But once you're fully optimized, then you just want to make sure. I think the biggest key to success isn't necessarily the tactic, it's the planning. So you want to make sure that you know all the numbers up front. You want to make sure that you understand this is how much, at most, I suspect, based on the software and the tools that I use to do this research, a product needs to sell in order to get to page one within this range, for the keyword or keywords that I'm targeting. So this is how much inventory I need to expect to have. This is how much, in ad spend I need to expect. You need to plan it out, because I think the biggest thing that stifles people isn't necessarily something going wrong in the launch. It's them doing it and then all of a sudden being like, wait, I didn't expect it to cost that much or to take that much inventory. I don't have enough anymore. And then they stop it. And guess what? You just cut off all momentum right there. I see that that's probably 70% of the time when people are like, my launch failed. Well, it's because you were not prepared. So prepare, know exactly how much, have a promotion strategy in place, have a paid media advertising, budget in place, understand all the numbers, understand how many units it's going to take to get there, and then push it out on as many channels as you can afford to buy visibility on. And as long as you have a really good product, over time, that'll be what ensures your success.
Yeah, that's a great point, Anthony. One of the things that I always harp on that a lot of people don't realize is you got to look at launch as a long game, right? Like, so many people will do like 2 weeks or a month worth of promotion, and then they, like you said, they're like, oh, this failed. I've told people, we're in an ultra competitive category. There's sometimes where we plan to go negative for 6 months, because we know that once we, get through that 6 months at the end, because we're ultra competitive, our money's in the long game. It's in year like 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. You know what I mean? Like we're getting the money, like it's a total long game there. And so many people miss that. And I get why, because if you're just starting out and you drop a bunch of money and you don't see it returned right away, it's risky, right? You're like, oh, this isn't going to work. But in my experience, if you are smart about promoting it and you do it for a long enough period of time, unless you're in a category that's untouchable and is where you're paying like supplements, you got to be a friggin' master these days to sell supplements, right? Especially if it's like a well-known type of supplement. Those are one of the categories where you would have a really hard time. Same thing with beauty, right? So those are some of the things you guys want to think about. But yeah, I think that longevity on the launch is something that a lot of people miss.
Well, one thing I want to point out too is I know what you just said might sound really intimidating to somebody just starting out, right? Oh, we might lose for 6 months. Okay, well, if you can't afford to lose for 6 months, then the alternative strategy I would suggest, because the reason you are losing for 6 months is because you're hitting probably bigger keywords because you can afford to,
Yep.
right? If you don't have the budget for that, then the alternative strategy would be, instead of hitting your main keyword, hit 5 or 10 long tails that like maybe only get 1,000 or 2,000 searches a month, right? And then build that out. and then be okay with only generating like 3, 4, 5 grand in revenue in a month. You know, that way it's a slower build. That way it might take you 12 months to get where you want to go, but you don't lose as much as fast. So it's, you know, it's a trade-off of risk and reward. And it all depends on how much budget you have to put into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Anthony makes a great point there. Like, if some of you guys have taken our PPC course, you know, I talk about the upside down triangle, I call it, right? So you want to go, you know, start with the mid and long tail stuff when you first start promoting, and then build from that, right? And that's kind of, you know, I think one of the most successful ways to do it, because like Anthony said, you build on that success, right? As long as that root keyword is in that mid tail or long tail word, that's where you can build from. So, you know, that's definitely a great point. She's asking, so do we have to have Shopify, or can we use a different platform like Square, Weebly, or your own website, WordPress? Or are you saying that we need both? I'll answer that first, Anthony, and then you can jump in too if you think that, you know, for me, platform doesn't matter nearly as much as getting yourself up there. That being said, once you lock yourself into a platform, if you end up growing that platform, you know, whether it's listing products or things like that, once you grow the business, then what platform you pick makes a big difference in terms of, you know, what you can get long term, right? So I would say Shopify and WordPress would be, you know, WooCommerce, WordPress would be the only two platforms I would build on personally, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think really any platform for the purpose of having that visibility and having another sales channel is fine. But like you were saying, you know, Andy, you got to think about the future, right? Chances are, if you do Wix or Squarespace, especially, God, I hated Squarespace. I've definitely had a Squarespace website before. Chances are you're going to have to build out of that, which means, and that is not impossible, but it's definitely a headache. The reason why I tell everybody Shopify, honestly, is because to me, it's the most user-friendly for beginners, right? I come from a WordPress background. I used to work at a place as a copywriter, and part of my job wasn't just to write copy. I also had to like upload all the files in a WordPress template. So I'm very familiar with WordPress. It is not user friendly. Like, yeah, it's definitely a lot easier than just coding at HTML, but like, even though it's plugins based and it's a lot of it is drag and drop, like once you have 500 drag and drop options, it's just as hard as coding it. So it's like, this is less user friendly than people think. So I always just push people to Shopify. Unless you have any experience developing, Shopify is just going to be so much easier. So that's the only reason.
Yeah, I always equate like, you know, Shopify is like the iPhone, and WooCommerce is like Android, right? So it's, if you're somebody who's kind of like geeky, like I actually went from WooCommerce to Shopify back to WooCommerce. And one of my main reasons is just, you know, I'm a geek, and, you know, I like, and you know, I like to get into the guts of things and make things work exactly the way I want them, which actually on Shopify now, they've gotten really good at, you know, then when they built that platform, they got really good at, or they are really good at letting you, you know, get into the themes and things like that, and actually getting into the code and customizing it fairly well. But, you know, it's just going to be, you know, what your choice is. Like Anthony said, though, you know, if you're just starting out, Shopify probably is the best choice, just because it's way more plug and play. And they do have a super strong, you know, app plugin extension, whatever you want to call it, marketplace, which gives you tons and tons of ways to onboard and things like that. So that's a great suggestion. All right. So this is a new one I came up with today for a question, just because I'm one of those guys who has like 500 Chrome extensions. So Anthony, what is your favorite Chrome extension?
That's a tough one, because I have a couple. I think my absolute most favorite is the video speed controller.
Oh yeah,
I've watched so many videos, and I can't listen to somebody at normal speed. Like,
same exact. Yep.
But I mean, outside of that, I would also say the ColorZilla color picker is like.
I should share my screen. Yeah, I got both of those as well. Those are fantastic for for just like if you want to like match like a header or something. It's so cool to just like click on that, hit your logo color, and then copy the hex value. That's a great one. Cool. All right. Amy, did you have any follow-up questions? And actually, we have one more question in the chat here, which is Nathaniel's asking, I've been live for about 12 months and product is selling on page one at roughly 10K a month, making a small margin. I'm at the point where I'm charging roughly the top end of the category and my margins are roughly 20-30%. The most I can buy, sell this product is a 1-to-5 ratio. So I'm wondering whether I should be committing to this product long-term or whether I should explore another product under my same brand.
First of all,
that's a long question.
Both. Okay. Here's the thing. I came up with this phrase probably 2015 or 16. I'm pretty proud of it. For Amazon, he who has the most SKUs wins. Amazon is all about, look, Amazon buyers, they're not brand loyal. They're all about what looks new. That's the reason why you can literally have the same product. It stops doing well and then you just rebrand it and it does well again, because people go to Amazon every day. They're used to seeing the same listings pop up. And then so what's new is what catches their eye. At the same time though, 20%, you realize that restaurants have like work with like a 5 to 10% margin. Like, you know, we're talking about major retail is at 15 most. 20% is beautiful in the business world. If you can continue to make that long term, why would you
scale it? Yeah, absolutely.
So I say both. Definitely go out there with new product. A really great way to okay, so let's say this product that you're talking about that you're doing 10K a month, you know, and you're at the top of where you can sell it at. Let's say it hit a wall and that's as much as it's going to do. Sometimes that happens. A great way to multiply that though is actually, like, if you can't scale it on .com, to like do the research and see if this is the kind of product that's purchased in the UK and Germany and Japan and expand there. I mean, people are people, right? If human beings have a need for this product, it might not necessarily be an American thing. So like if you hit a wall with a product, a great way to expand would be to go to foreign marketplaces. And if you're not already there, especially, it just gives you a reason to do it because you're going to want to do it at some point regardless. So that might be an alternative to just finding new products, although I think you should be doing that too. Really, you should reinvest everything for like 12 to 24 months and just doing all of that, because 5 years from now, you is going to be like, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's funny. So Amy's always making fun of me because we have we had 800 SKUs. We've been paring them down just because it's terrible. But to your point, I mean, one of the reasons why we've had so much longevity, is we started in 2011, we're still kicking, 7 figures plus every year. And we don't, I don't work a lot in the business. I am more lately right now, just because of the seller fulfilled that we're doing. The volume of that has gone up exponentially, but we just have a ton of SKUs. So we have long tail. So even products that we put up like years ago that were like, oh, this is old stale inventory. We have it stored in, we have an acre, property and a container. We store it there. And so then all these little products that we bought years ago, because we're so long tail that, we might only sell 3 to 5 a day, but when you times that by, 500 SKUs or whatever, that's where you really start making some money.
That's right.
On that note, is the new brand are you gonna go wild on the new brand for SKUs, or are you gonna try to keep it tight?
No, I'm going to keep it tight with regard to the niche. Like, I want to make sure like the products very much so follow a specific solution.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I want to be as aggressive as possible with opening as many new products. Like, I want everybody to be completely confused. Like, is the store adding new products so frequently? Like,
yeah. Well, I was telling the story how, like, early on too, my goal was to scale or to add 1 product a week, and I did it. But what I found out is unless you have a lot of really great systems in place and a lot of admin support. Back then I didn't. Now I do, but back then I didn't. So it was like my products didn't get the attention that they would have in terms of listing optimization, PPC, all that kind of stuff. So there's also 2 sides to that coin. We talked about this, I think, last episode or the episode before that, how you can even go the opposite way and get a ClickFunnels page, sell a single product with like 1 upsell and be ultra successful. that's something else that you guys can try. But I think the overall theme, if you talk to Anthony, and I would agree concurrently and absolutely wholeheartely, is, turn dials, try everything, right? Like, why not ClickFunnels? You can, spin up, and, they have templates that you can clone and, get a product up, even if it's a dropship product, anything like that, get something up and test it and see how it does.
For sure. I want to clarify, the having many SKUs strategy to me is an Amazon specific strategy.
Yeah.
ClickFunnels to a single product page is a completely different strategy. If you get good, that's a great one too, especially because in the process you have to learn about building funnels. If you get good at building funnels, you could take those 10 products you were talking about testing, put up Facebook ads for them, see which one works. And then every time you find one that works, go really, really deep on making the funnel and the upsells and everything perfect for that. You don't need 100 SKUs. You do that 5 times and you'll be like blown away how much money you can make. So
and I'd
really
also say that it depends on your business model as well. If you're selling white label products, you want to play around with your SKUs. But if you're selling private label, you want a little bit better margin. You want to spend a little bit more time building your brand off of Amazon and exploring your channels. If this was a private label product that he was talking about and not white label, a lot of people call white label private label. But if he's asking this question and it's a private label product that isn't selling well and his margins are that bad, I would be like, I don't know, So, I mean, I agree with the many SKUs kind of thing when you're selling stuff that's very easy to copy. Because as you mentioned, Anthony, most of the stuff people are searching for on Amazon, it's not brand related. It's 70% generic searches, t-shirt, shoes, whatever, people, where 30% or less are actual brand searches. And in that case, if you have to ask yourself, do you want people to search for your brand? Are you building a brand, or are you just trying to sell a t-shirt? In that case, then you got to do, you got to compete on that white label side of things where, hey, I need my widget that looks pretty much the same as everybody else's widget. I got to play the game. I got to play the ranking game. I got to play the keyword game, all of that. But if you really are coming to market with something that's unique, something that's cool, something that has a differentiation, then you really want to focus on, okay, I'm a brand now. I need to work my butt off of Amazon so that I can actually have a real brand presence. Because on Amazon, what are most of the searches? They're generic, right? So we need to get our brand recognized off Amazon so that people come to Amazon and buy as a convenience, like you mentioned, Anthony. Like, I love that trick of going back onto Shopify and saying, hey, you can buy this on Amazon too, right? It's a great way for people to go, oh, wow, that's convenient. That's trustworthy, right? So that's just my little take on that. I think a lot of people confuse business models, right? They need to decide first, do you want to be in the white label game where you're playing these ranking games every single time, and then it's a SKU game, and you want to get as many products as possible because you're making a tiny little margin. And if you ever hope to leave your job, you gotta have 800 SKUs, right, with that tiny little margin, and you got to keep them going. You got to keep playing the game. But if you can do very well with 1 or 2 really great private label products, if you build your brand well and you have great margins.
For sure. No, I 100% agree that if you're building a brand, your efforts should be off of Amazon. The reason I tell people that Amazon specifically is a SKU game is because even when you are building a brand, because people aren't looking for your brand on Amazon, your brand is unrecognized. So you just look like all the other, as you call, white label. I actually separate the business models too. I don't call it white label and private label though. I call it cash flow and branding, but they basically mean the same thing. And I don't necessarily think that cash flow with a lot of SKUs is a bad thing. It's not necessarily.
If you're making money, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it costs like that much more work either. It's just, you have to understand, a lot of people don't realize there is a distinction between the two. So what happens is, let's say you do have a really, really good, amazing, and I speak this from the heart because it happened to me, awesome private label product. You're building a real brand. You start on Amazon and you're like, I'm just going to go full on in this one product. And then 2 years later, suddenly it's not selling anymore. And you're looking at all your competitors. What are they doing differently? What did I do wrong? How do I fix it? What I didn't realize at the time was that's just the way it works on Amazon sometimes. Products have a lifespan. And because I didn't focus enough on putting new stuff out there on Amazon, and then I wasn't doing enough to expand off of Amazon, I was stuck with what used to be a great product. And at that time too, I didn't realize the power of rebranding, which, I mean, it's crazy how well that works. It's like, why? It's the same product. It's because Amazon is just all about what's flashy and new. So it's just important to kind of understand what the platforms are there for. I still think I 100% agree with Andy's assessment that Amazon is the MySpace of e-commerce. I think that they will absolutely be taken away by a better platform, something that serves sellers better. When I say by serve sellers, it's because Amazon is a wonderful platform for people to come and buy many things. It's a terrible platform for people to come and buy many, like fill the cart with different items from the same brand. Right?
Yeah.
It's all about one-to-one transactions regularly.
And if you are a unique brand that has awesome products that don't look like everybody else's, you should be focusing your effort off of Amazon, and Amazon should just be a convenient sales channel for your brand.
Yep.
That's it.
100%,
Bottom
100%.
line.
Yeah, definitely get.
And then really too, look at the market on Amazon for your products. I was giving this example the other day. You know, a lot of people are trying to do the high-end homewares thing still on Amazon. That is not working anymore. I'm sorry, but it's not. You're going to have a hard time selling a high-end homeware because all the factories are coming out. So we did in our mastermind group the other day, we showed a gold vase on Amazon, right? A high-end looking gold vase. The highest price really any of these gold vases were like $20. You know, it was like $20, whatever. And then we go over on wayfair.com and basically the same looking vase, same materials, everything, $80 starting, $200 is the kind of the average prices there. So maybe your platform isn't Amazon. Remember, it's just a sales channel, right? And maybe it is if you're trying to play the SKU game and like you're trying to build out and you've got access to quickly source a bunch of white label products, well then go for it, right? Play the ranking, play the SKU game. But if you're wanting to build a brand, look and make sure that Amazon shouldn't just be a convenience for you, right?
Totally.
Yeah. One thing that I want to mention, which is interesting, and a lot of people might not know this, and nobody knows this is for sure, but I've read it and I've experienced it myself, and I believe it is supposedly Amazon's got probably 100 or more, probably more than that, factors, right, when it comes to ranking your product on Amazon or your account, things like that. One of the things that that I had heard even from ex-Amazon employees, even though they're like, yeah, don't tell anybody I told you this, is that Amazon rewards accounts that are active. And by active, I mean adding new products. Like Amazon wants you to add new products. The more you add new products, the more likely you are to get traction on Amazon, because Amazon sees that as an investment in their platform, right? The more products, the SKU game doesn't only relate to the seller, it relates to Amazon, right? Like the more SKUs Amazon has, the more likely they are to capture more customers. So they absolutely love when you onboard new products. So that's something to think about, guys. And
It's
once
true.
again, oh, go ahead, Anthony.
I was just going to say, I actually knew, this was years ago, so I cannot remember who they were. An ex-Amazon employee who did like research on this, looking at the difference between listings and brands and products that rank versus the ones that don't, the ones that generate a lot of revenue, the ones that have good BSRs. And they basically came up with the conclusion that the magic number at that time, this was like 3 years ago, but the magic number of as far as how many SKUs you should have in order for Amazon's algorithm to show any amount of favoritism with regard to having a bigger store or smaller store was 41. They saw a significant difference once you hit over 40 SKUs for some reason in the ease of rank and the number of products that do well and their BSR levels. I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, that's actually been around for a little while. No doubt that Amazon employees told you this. It's like there does appear to be a clear correlation between the way they treat storefronts with more SKUs and ones that don't have that many.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting when I heard that. So, all right, we've come down to that point, Anthony, where I like to ask, what are you into right now in terms of learning? Because I know as an entrepreneur, you're always cracking books, listening to podcasts, probably on Audible, all those things, YouTube. What are you either watching, listening to, reading? What are you into right now?
I have a subscription to Audible, currently listening to the book 1 Million Followers, because I'm really interested in the idea of just building an audience, right? And I think that once I crack that code, it'll be not just my own audience, but audiences for brands. So that's big. That's one of the subjects I'm tackling. And then, like I said, I'm about to be going through a Snapchat course just to kind of learn the back end of Snapchat. I've actually also started running my own tests just to get an idea. But there's a bunch of buttons back there. I don't actually know what they mean. So that's why I got the course. I'm like, maybe I can learn what these buttons mean.
Right.
So learning platform, ad platform courses, and then learning about building an audience. Currently, that's where my extra effort. And then, of course, I've always got a book in Kindle that I try to read at least a couple times a week on behavioral economics, because that's my favorite topic in the world.
Yeah, it's all super interesting stuff. That's a new one. I agree with you though. And a lot of people, Amy and I've been saying this for a while, I realized it late in the game, but building an audience is super important, especially, now. And once you gain those eyeballs and gain that trust, you can, just about sell anything. It's like, as long as you're in the niche and you help people, or, if you're in the product space, as long as you know a lot about the product and help people with that product, then that's where you can really have some big effects.
Indeed.
All right. Tell people where they can find you, what you're up to, anything you want to plug, your website, your social, any of that kind of stuff.
I am so everywhere. My handle on most things is Anthony Lee 991. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok. That's my Facebook, / Anthony Lee 991's on Facebook. 0991 if you want the actual official Anthony Lee page. You can hit me up on Messenger. The website that I write all of my content for now is the Signalytics website. That's the service that we're slowly launching features for. Signalytics.ai. That's a little bit harder to spell, so Anthony Lee 991 might be the easier way to go.
So tell us the significance of the 991. Is that 911? But
I tried to just grab my own name. And then on every platform, they were like, that's already taken. And then one of them just suggested adding 991 at the end. And I was like, fine, screw it. That's what I'm doing. There's zero significance. Literally, I think it's Snapchat or Instagram. One of them suggested it. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, now all of them have to be that.
Well, I kind of like it because, you think of 911 and you're like, okay, wait, no, it's 991. And that's an easy number to remember because of that. So that was good. That was a good mistake, right? A good happenstance.
Sure. We'll see based on on how many people hit me up after this. We'll see if 991 worked.
Sorry guys. My son was trying to push his way into the office. Working from home has been quite the adventure.
Indeed.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Anthony, for joining us today. It's been awesome. I'm so glad we finally got you on. Thank you so much for being here. And Amy, I hope you feel better. And if you guys haven't done so yet, please subscribe, leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing on the podcast. We really, really appreciate that, guys, getting that feedback. If there's anything you want us to cover, please let us know. And we will see you next time every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Remember to join us live, guys. sellerseo.com/SRT. Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for live Q&A and bonus content after the recording at sellerroundtable.com. Sponsored by the ultimate software tool for Amazon sales and growth, sellerseo.com and amazingathome.com.